People get us confused anyways.
It don't matter.
Good evening. This is just another reminder to have your cell phones on silent or mute. And please note that the Baylor locker room is now open to the media. We're joined by head coach Nikki Collin, along with student athletes Jamie Ashbury and Sarah Andrews. We will begin with the opening statement from the head coach, followed by questions to the student athletes.
Wow, we were really bad in the first quarter and really good after that. You know, I think they came out punching. I will say this, you know, having coached in the SEC before, it's an athletic, physical league, and I thought they came out and they were more physical than us. They were playing downhill and then, of course, hitting threes. And I thought we got good shots, but we were making one pass, and they were taking us out of some of our actions because of their physicality on pin downs, and we had to respond, you know, and I thought we started to amazingly, I thought we started to respond as the first quarter went on. The ball didn't go through the basket. And then I think the second quarter, Jamie made some shots and kind of took the lid off, and we started to almost exchange baskets, but I thought that gave us a little energy. But it was going to come down to we can't trade baskets at this point. We've put ourselves in too big a hole. So, you know, there wasn't a lot of X's and O's in the halftime locker room. It was we're getting punked and we have to step up. You know, we got to compete. We got to get stops and you know it's time to do what we need to do to really be focused. There wasn't anything when you have 5 days of prep. They didn't run anything we hadn't worked on. You know, it was guarding it correctly. It was being there on the catch. You know, and then getting paint touches for us, which, you know, I thought as the game went along we did and executed down the stretch enough to make our free throws to put it away.
We will now take questions for the student athletes only. If time allows, we'll follow up with any virtual questions. For your in-person folks, please wait for the microphone that's handed to you, ask your question, and identify yourself along with your affiliation. We'll start right here in the front.
Bryce Cherry, Wake Up Trib. Sarah, you lived up to your promise to come in hooping and hollering. Obviously, it was 22-4. I mean, what Nikki mentioned it, but what turned around for you guys, and how good does it feel to pull out a win like this?
I just kept saying we got to stick together. You know, they hit shots. Like, I felt like everything they shot was going in for them. And I think, you know, we just stuck together. And we knew sooner or later we were going to knock down shots. But most of all, it wasn't about trading baskets. It was about us playing defense.
Alexa Philippou with ESPN for either of you. That was tied for the third largest comeback win in NCAA tournament history. So it's one thing to say you can believe that you guys can do it, but to actually do it, what was, I guess, what you were able to say to each other or hear from Coach to make sure that you could make that happen and also execute down the stretch of the fourth quarter?
I think, like Sarah said, we just stayed together. I think our team is really good at doing that, staying positive. You know, you see teams sometimes, like, kind of getting into it, and we don't. Like, we let our coach get on to the players because we're not the coaches. And I think that when Coach Nikki gets on to someone, we go outside the huddle and say, you're good, you know, because if you feel like so many people's on your back, you're not going to play good. So let one person get onto you and let the other four give you positivity. That's how I look at it.
Jamie, the team was, I think, 14 for 18 from the line.
Can you please identify yourself?
Sorry, Pat Eaton-Rob from the Associated Press. You guys were 14 of 18 from the line. I think it was 9 of 10 in the fourth quarter. Obviously 7 in a row to close the game out. Can you just talk about what leads to that kind of composure, especially when it's coming down to the end in an NCAA tournament game?
Well, I think I'm the one who missed, so I did, but it could have been 4. I think it's important. I shot a lot of free throws before I left, so I think that's important.
Tell them you prayed on one of them.
No, I did pray. I was asking God, like, just go in, please.
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Jamie, what got you going in that second quarter when, I mean, y'all were 2 for 16 in the first quarter?
What got me going internally, my mom's birthday was March 16th, and some of you may not know that. She passed away when I was 16, and my dad sent me a text on her birthday, I think, and it was like, make this game about her. And when I was at halftime, I was just sitting there and I was quiet and I was just praying to her, like, if I'm going to go out, let me go out with a bang. And thankfully we won, and I think that game was for her.
Sarah, all week long, you guys worked on defending the three-point line. You knew Alabama's strength was threes. To kind of beat them at their own game, I mean, you guys hit some big threes. Just how satisfying does that feel?
It feels good, We shot the ball very well after the first quarter, but most of all, I think you saw some big plays. Jamie and Kate and Bella all had some big plays at the end of the game, that we could have easily gave up and gave them the rebound, but I think, our seniors stepped up, and Bella definitely as a freshman, got a big rebound for us.
Any other questions for the student athletes? And this will be the last question for the student athletes.
Sarah, I can't remember if you were on or some, but y'all really shut down Aaliyah Nye. Can you talk about just kind of what y'all, 'cause it didn't look like y'all were giving her like any open looks. Y'all were up on her. Talk about how y'all did that.
We're a team. We feed off our defense. When we're able to get stops and rebounds, we're a great team in transition. So I think, we started playing some defense and getting stops. And, I was just like today on defense, I was just locked in. I felt like I could jump out the gym all of a sudden. But most of all, the game was just fun today, honestly.
Thank you, ladies.
Block machine. And they were legit. Like, they weren't just like, guards usually get strips for blocks, not like the ones up top.
And now we will open up the questions for our head coach.
Nikki, kind of a two-parter. Bella's rebound there at the end, huge. And, obviously you've seen Bugs out there a lot of times in those kind of situations. Just the decision to kind of go with Bella instead of Bugs.
Yeah, it was a little bit gut-based. I thought that Bella spaced the floor better. She'd made a couple threes. I thought Bugs was pressing around the rim. When they were playing off of her, kind of deciding. She was going into congestion a lot, and she'd given up a three at one point, getting too deep. And it was gut. I just think it was a gut instinct at that point. The physicality, and Bugs has had an unbelievable year, and I thought that when I went to Bugs early, she gave us a lot of energy, and so, which she always does, but I thought, Bella ran the floor. Bugs is always going to rebound, but Bella's offensive rebound, but not just her offensive rebound. Like, she hasn't been our best free throw shooter this year. She's not a bad free throw shooter, but to make the two, to get us within one late on the hold on the baseline out of bounds, and I'm sure they're questioning, like, why the heck? I mean, I thought we bothered Nye all night, and that was a frustration foul late, but you just. You can't do that in that situation because now you're putting our best foul shooter on the line to take the lead. So just thought, down the stretch for Bella to hit her two, for then to turn around and for Kate to hit her two was the difference. When you look at the game and the 14 threes on both sides, I mean, if you'd have told me they were going to make 14 threes today and we would win, I would tell you you're crazy. And I thought, I probably should have said this in my open. If that's Brittany Davis's last game, holy cow, she was fantastic. Like, there were times when we made mistakes on her, and there were times when we were right there, and she was better than us one-on-one. But her efficiency, 33 points on 16 shots, is insane. So she was unbelievable. But I'll tell you, we felt like, Derek, our radio guy, asked me this before the game. I felt like we had a better chance to guard Barber and Nye than we did to guard Davis, and so that's why we put Sarah on Nye. That's why we put Jamie on Barber, because we wanted to keep tight on them. We really wanted to we thought we had a better chance against them than we did on Davis. And she kind of proved why, you know. And so to hold those two in single figures, but then, one of the things I'm most proud of is when we gave up the 3-point play late, when you're at a minute, it's easy to go, man, that was the one. That was the one. And we weren't going to try to tie it up with a 3. Like, we were playing downhill, you know, when they hand checked us. And then so, you know, like we finished the game like we needed to, even getting the ball in bounds in late game situations. We've been in a lot of close games that Kaylin Bickle's been sitting next to my coaches on the bench. And so to have her to inbound the ball just gives me, especially with no timeouts, most of you won't know that we lost the game with me probably not calling a timeout when we needed to against OU. And with only one left, I really questioned whether I wanted to use that last one to advance. But I was having flashbacks to the turnover and the 3 by Taylor Robertson. So, you know, we needed to be safe there. So I know that was a really long answer to why Bella than Bugs, but I did remember what the question was. It was gut. You know, you make a lot of coaching decisions based on gut and flow of the game.
Can you talk about your team's defense, especially that last minute, and then the offensive rebound by Fauntleroy off the missed foul shot, and the composure of your team over that last minute?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's going to say that giving up 49% and 54% from 3 and 90% from the line is good defense. But I thought we were scrappy and we started to turn them over. And I think that was a huge part. We got some live ball turnovers. We were able to get in transition. We made some plays on the roll. You know, like we started the game and our ball screen coverage was as bad as it's been. It got better. It got better as the game went along. They had to make tougher shots. We got some shot clock violations or near shot clock violations where they had to throw shots up at the basket. You know, and believe me, I felt a little bit in the first quarter. I'm sure like Christy did in the third, where she's like zone. We hit a 3. She goes back man. We score. She goes back zone. You know, it's the worst feeling to me in coaching. And I know there's a lot of offensive coaches out there that love shootouts, but it makes me super uncomfortable when we don't get stops, you know, because you feel like that's like the one thing we always say, you know. Well, I taught my team this week, that defense and rebounding travels. You know, I guess offense ultimately traveled here today, but, you know, I just thought we made some plays. We forced to travel. I thought there was a couple that could have been called that just because we were there. We were really tight on the catch. I thought Jamie's defense on Barber late was really good. She got over screens. I thought even one possession, we switched matchups and put Bella on Barber so that we could switch the high ball screen so that they couldn't roll behind us. And even that, for one possession, made a difference because they couldn't roll behind us. And so I thought Tony made a really good adjustment on that as well.
Nikki, how did you see your team, especially after the first quarter, going down and only scoring 4 points in the first frame, just stick together and not kind of lose that sense of like we can actually kind of chip into this?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of players out there that either haven't played in a game like this or haven't played the role that they're playing in a game like this. And so I felt like we started the game, and once again, their physicality took us out of, you know, their ice bothered us and our ball screen stuff. You know, we'd worked on going against their ice all week. I thought they'd switch 1 through 4. I thought they'd ice with their 5, but they were icing with their 4 to start. So they were consistently putting us against the ice. We weren't moving the ball side to side the first 4 minutes. You know, when we got to the first media timeout, we started to move the ball. Then we just started missing. You know, I thought we ran a good set. Bugs got a layup and missed. Jamie got a couple wide open threes. We just knew we had to get the ball side to side. For us, everything we do is predicated on, do we get a paint touch? And we got to get it off a bounce, a cut, you know, because we're not a low post, throw it in there and play off the low post. So I think even at halftime we were over 50% with a paint touch. We were at like, I don't know, minus 14% without a paint touch. And so, you know, for us it was about, I think, seeing the ball go through the basket. Because when we got the ball moved side to side, because they were switching off ball 1 through 4, when we'd cut hard, we'd take 2 with the cut. And Jamie was standing there wide open at times. And so I thought she started to see the ball go in. Then Bella hit a couple threes. And so all of a sudden, you feel like, okay, they took a deep breath. Now, we didn't guard perfectly in the second quarter, but we started to chip away, and, to go in down 11. And I thought, we had a couple possessions right there at the end to cut it under 10 and had a turnover and, an embarrassing out-of-bounds play to end the half. Those are always, really bad coaching moments. But, the halftime, everyone's always going to talk about the halftime speech. And I think sometimes, for me, I black out when I give those type of halftime speeches. And it sounds weird to say that, but I'm very much a pretty articulate, pretty okay, we didn't guard this action right. Let's fix how we guard their pistol stuff. But we guarded everything wrong. And we'd had 5 days to prepare. So there wasn't anything that we hadn't taught them how we wanted to guard. We just had to do what we were taught to do. And so there was a lot of challenges being thrown out. No swear words. I gave those up for Lent. But, a lot of challenges thrown out about how we, needed to compete. I thought Brittany Davis came out and I challenged Jaden. You have to be better. You just have to be better. And so I don't know exactly what I said. I know Chloe and Tony loved it, but I could tell you that I don't. It's kind of in those moments when it's so emotional and it's so all you're trying to do is get them to go out there and compete, because I felt like we could get anything we wanted on offense, but we had to guard. We had to defend and rebound. And we did, to come out and our challenge to them was make them call the first time out of the third quarter. And we did. And then they had to call a second, which puts you in a situation at the end where they only have 2 left and they don't have one when maybe they need one there at the end. And so that was our challenge to them, make them call the first time out. And I thought we did. We obviously did, but I thought we came out with the kind of energy that we needed.
Last question here in front.
Nikki, you talked about it. Brittany obviously got hers, but Aaliyah and Hannah, you guarded. What specifically did you do on those two?
We played tight, we still tried to be in help side, and but we just, look, we have so many resources, The beauty of Baylor and a lot of the Power 5 schools is we got services, we've got film, there's nothing we lack when it comes to preparation. And I know we face a lot of teams in these tournaments with the same thing. So, but there's no reason to not know what people are good at, and Nye is an incredible catch and shoot 3-point shooter. She was 2 for 3. So when you give her a look, now one of them banked in, okay, but she was 2 for 3. But she has made no threes off the bounce. So if you make her play off the dribble, I think she has 11 free throws on the season, and it's layups or it's threes. And she's so good at creating protection for everybody else because you don't want to leave her, and it puts you in situations where you got to stay home. But we did a good job of being there on the catch all night long on her, and making her play off the bounce, making her a passer, trying to make her a decision maker. She had no turnovers, but we felt like we could disrupt her, and just not let her get shots off. And then Barber is so steady. She's got some Emily Ryan in her. She's a kid that is a good decision maker off the bounce. She'll read it. If you go under, she'll shoot it. We just didn't want to get caught on screens. We wanted to stay on her hip and make her a passer, but not make her. We wanted to play the bounce pass on the roll. We wanted to play we call the sling pass, because they do a good job in their 3-player action of rising and hitting the pass behind for the shot. We wanted to sit on those 2 passes. We wanted the guard to sit on the sling pass. We wanted the post to sit on the pocket pass, and we got better as the game went along at doing that.
Thank you.
And there will be basketball 101 on the pocket and the sling pass later.